Hello, everyone. This is Doug Wilkerson with Central Christian Center and Saturday Night Live. Want to welcome you to today's cast. Do we want to start again? Okay. I want to welcome you to today's cast, YouTube, Facebook, Live. Pleasure to be with you, and thank you for taking the time to listen here with us today or whenever you do listen. Today's encouraging word from Doug is, why is it so hard to connect with God? You know, as I was thinking and praying about what to share today, I was actually kind of struggling trying to figure out what to share, and I turned on my Bluetooth, and it told me, says connecting, and something downside said that I need to talk about that today. So I'm just going to share a little something about connecting today, connecting with God. You know, oftentimes we find it hard to either connect or check in with God. One of the reasons why we do that, I believe, is that we find it so hard is because we believe that we need to do something. We need to be something. We need to something. Where it's always something to try to make that connection with God. At least that's what we think, or at least I'm assuming you think similar to the way that I think. And so, what we need to do is we need to connect with God. You may say, "Well, I don't know what to do to be able to do that. I want it, but I don't know what it is." And so that's some of the things we're going to be talking about today. Most of us have an idea of that a cell phone connects with the receiver end out there with into the system, and the question is, how do we turn a cell phone on? Well, you just turn it on, right? You just turn it on, and it starts sending out a signal, and whoever they are, they pick the signal up. They see right where you are. Oftentimes, we see it on TV and advertisements about people being able to locate you, well, with whether it's 911 or my daughter has me on maps, so she's able to know where I'm at all the time by just turning on her maps, and it shows me where I'm at. And so our cell phones know where we're at all the time, and oftentimes they know where we've been, where we are, and oftentimes with their super duper algorithms that they have a pretty good idea where we're going and what we're going to be doing. So today we're talking about being connected, and our phones here almost godlike in the sense that it does all this. But the scripture says that God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. But his algorithms are better than any algorithms we have here on earth. So my point today, and we'll just so that I'm able to share it. My encouraging word is that we need to connect with God, and how we do that is by just turning ourselves on, opening ourselves up to God, and even go so far. I heard one preacher say, you know, what he did was he just say, "Hi God, it's Jesse," and you can say, like I can say, "Hi God, hi Jesus, this is Doug," and we're just connecting in, and that connection does something. It does something to us, and it brings us into that relationship. We're just checking in. Oftentimes, every day, several times a day, I'll call and check in with my wife or my daughter, and just checking in, and sometimes they ask me, well, what I need, and I'll say, if I have something, I tell them. But generally speaking, I just say, well, I'm just checking in, and this checking in makes a difference. It makes a difference to me, and because what we're doing is just getting synchronized with each other. Because when you're apart, um, we lose synchronization. When a cell phone loses its signal, oftentimes, and then it starts, losing the updates and all the information going on. Sometimes you've had a cell phone off for a while, and when you turn it on, it goes through all its dinging and bells, and all it's got to do to catch up to be in sync with right now. And today I'm talking about just having a connection with God, continually checking in with Him. How many times is a cell phone check in with the source? A bunch, every minute. Probably every second or two. I'm not for sure. Somebody probably knows the answer to that. But one of the reasons why we have a problem with this believing that we're able to have this connection is because we think we have to do something to receive God's mercy of His grace. But the fact of it is, if that's true, we have to do something. Then what Jesus did was in vain. He shed His blood to show His character, God's character, and God's love here on earth, and to actually be our offering. And He's done that for us. And all we have to do, at least initially, is to just check in, open up, and connect with Him. If a cell phone does it all the time, I wonder about us. What do you think about that? Just a question. Why do you think a cell phone does that? Well, so it can be stay up to date. I wonder if we need to stay up to date. It might be helpful. Just a thought. Scripture that you might find interesting. As I was thinking and studying about this was about Mary and Martha with Jesus. This is out of Luke 10:42. And this was where Martha was, the scripture here says, and Martha was distracted with much serving. What was going on? Jesus was coming in, and she was planning a dinner to feed dinner and the other disciples and folks that were there. And she went to Jesus and said, Lord, do you not care? Okay, I'm not going to go into what all this is, but she said, Lord, do you not care? My sister is not helping me. She's left me alone with all this serving. Then she says, tell her to come help me. And this is the really important part where Jesus spoke back to her and said, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken from her. And I believe what Jesus was talking about there was her time with Jesus, her connection. She was in a special place in that connection. And not saying what Martha was doing was bad. Okay, I relate a lot with Martha. Okay, with all the doings and the tasks and trying getting things done. I relate with her a lot. Probably more with her than I do with Mary. But the fact of it is, I know how beneficial it is for me when I do connect. And the more I'm connected, the better I am. And so today, when we're talking about connection, checking in, just checking in. You know, some people struggle. I have struggled with just checking in, connecting, because we put all these expectations on ourselves and how it's supposed to be. But if we just check in, I call Linda and check in with her, and it makes a difference for me, and I'm sure it makes a difference for her. Um, Sometimes I've called her. It's been a while, and she says, "Well, I've been wondering about you. I've been expecting you." And I said, "Yes, yes." And so and we just touch base. Sometimes it's about the grandkids, or sometimes it's about other business issues or whatever. Um, well, I called before I came down here today, and she said, "Well, Max cast onto the TV, and now she wasn't able to read it, listen to the TV, uh, and didn't know what was going on." I said, "Well, I don't know. You got picture? Yeah." I said, "Turn it off, and turn it back on." She did. She got sound. So sometimes able to address. I would start to say minor, and then I start to say big. Let's just call it a problem. So anyway, so just check in, and in doing this, sometimes we just need to take a pause for the cause and connect and resynchronize our heart and our mind with God, and that affects us. And uh, Jesus, um, just tried to share that with Martha. Out of Psalms 23, I had this come to my mind. It says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for you are with me." You know, we really need to know that He's with us. And how did David know that God was with him? Because he practiced that conscious awareness, and that's what we're talking about: being connected before, during, and after these situations. And it's really challenging to be able to maintain that connection in a trauma when you haven't practiced it before the trauma. So I'd encourage you, and I know you have, but I just encourage you to do that. The more you do it, of course, the better we'll get at it. And I was thinking about a story that happened to me and my family when I was probably maybe 6, maybe 7. I was on a carnival ride, and something was going wrong with that carnival ride, and my head was banging against the wall of the unit we were in, and our whole family was in this unit, and my dad was trying to get them to stop the ride, which they wouldn't. But after we got off and he knew I was all right, he went to go talk to the guy, and the guy took off running and yelling for help. Now my dad's smaller than I am right now, but he went doing that. And I remember after he came back, he took me by the hand and we walked down the fairway there. And I just remember how I felt. I felt protected. I felt secure because we were connected. I just thought I'd throw that story in there. When you're connected with God, how do you feel? Next question. When you're disconnected from God, how do you feel? Now, I'm not trying to put condemnation on anybody or trouble anyone. I want to help you, and it's hard to do things that you don't know how to do. But there's only one way to learn how to do anything, and that is that you attempt, you practice, you learn, and you continue to practice, attempt, and learn until you get better at it. And I just want to encourage you to do that. Life is about connection. That's what life really is all about. Relationship, connection, relationship with Him, God, relationship with others. So we need to have that connection. Who are you connected to? And whatever you're connected to is what you're going to get. So be careful what you connect with. Can you run your life efficiently and effectively if you're not connected with God? Just a question, something to think about. So some of you think, well, I need to get connected. The first thing I need to do is I need to get right with God. All you have to do is say, Father, forgive me, because Jesus has done all the work. Forgive me. I receive your grace. And when you do that, his grace and mercy has come on you. And today you can do that today. And anytime you feel like you're pushed out of sorts, all you have to do is just bring it on back and connect. And you can have it right here. You say, well, I'm not good enough. Don't worry about being good. Just be connected. If you're connected, all these other things will begin to change. I promise you. Today, I just want to thank you for being with me. Hopefully, we have a little bit of a connection, and that this can help you in your life walk. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you his peace. And please make healthy choices. Until we see each other again, have a good day, good life.